Overloading is having two or more constructor in our program. To show example on constructor overloading, let me create a class data or items prices. In this class, I will set variable like price of bags and shoes and have the quantity. We will set two constructor. The first constructor will have two parameters, while the second constructor will have single parameter, and the usage of this constructor will be made available in our program. Now let me create private int shoes price and have private int bag price, and we will have another variable to set the quantity of the bag or shoes that we want, so that we'll have another method to calculate the prices and print the value of the prices. We have private int shoes quantity, and we will have for the bag quantity private int bag quantity. We will have a user to input the amount or the quantity of the bag or shoes that he wants. After setting the prices of the shoe and bag, let me generate constructor for the field shoes price and bag price. Code generate constructor shoes and bag. The constructor is supposed to be here. Now that we have shoes and bag, let me create another constructor for only shoe price. Generate constructor for the shoe field. Now we have another constructor for the two field, which is constructor overloading. Now the next thing we will going to do is that to have two methods that will calculate the values or the quantity for the bag and shoes. Before we put the two methods, let's set the quantity. Have the method to set the quantity, public void set bag quantity. Here we will have parameter, which is int quantity. Okay, we will duplicate this method to have for the shoe, since this one is for the bag. Here will be shoes. Now let's set this dot bag quantity equal to quantity the same thing here. The only difference will be this dot shoes quantity equal to quantity. Okay, now we have two methods to calculate the quantity, to set the quantity. Now we will have another method to public to calculate the bag quantity and the shoe quantity. Public int calculate bag let's just leave it calculate bags. This method will return this method will return the bag quantity times bag price. Bag quantity times bag price. And we shall have another method public int calculate shoes this will return shoes quantity times shoes price. Now that we have this method, let me explain. Here we have two constructor, the constructor with two parameter and the constructor with one parameter. Now, and we have another two methods to calculate, to set the quantity of the bag and the shoes. And we also have two methods to calculate the bag price and the shoe price using the quantity of the bag that the user set in the method set shoe or set bag. Now let's have another method to print the value. Public void print. In this method we'll have print line. Let me duplicate this. Okay, the first print line we will have shoe price or unit price for shoe. Unit price for shoe. The unit price for shoe is the value of the shoe price. We will concatenate this. Is the value of the shoe price, and then concatenate with space here. We will have space, and then the quantity for the shoes plus the quantity of the shoes quantity of shoes. And then we concatenate this with shoes quantity. Okay, and let's duplicate this to use the value of this method, this print line inside this to set for. The only difference will be back backs here we have back, quantity of back, and here is supposed to be also backs quantity. Now that we have these, we will also have the total price. Now total amount for back plus we will call this method that calculate back price times quantity and return the value. Here we have calculate backs, and let's duplicate this for shoe. Total amount for shoe, we'll have calculate shoes. Now that we finish preparing this class item prices, we will call this class inside our main method here. Item prices equal to new item prices. Now let's test the first constructor that we have two fields. Let's set the two field, which is shoe and back. Let me provide 40 and 80 as the price. We will have comma here. Now that we have 40 and 80, let's call prices dot set the quantity for the back. Let's set that we want 4 back, and let's set the quantity prices dot set the quantity for shoes. Let's have 2. Now that we set this quantity, let's call the print method prices dot print method, and let's test this program. The program is running. Okay, here we have 40 with its unit price for shoe and 80, and the quantity of the shoe that we want is 2, while the quantity of the bag we want is 4. and here is the total 320 that we doesn't have a space here. We will add the space 320 because 4 times 80 here, which is for the back, is 320, and 2 times 40 here is 80. There is something I want to, if we use this price to access these members, we have this calculate shoes and calculate back. Since that we are not using this method, let's set the method to private. Item prices, let's set the method to private. Private. Okay, and we will have space here so that it look nicer. Let me run the program again. Okay, here we have a space that we added. Okay, the reason we use 2 constructor in this class showed so that maybe you can only want, you don't need to buy all shoe and bag at the same time. Maybe you want, sometimes you only need shoe. That's why we provide 2 constructor for the shoe. If you are looking for shoe, you don't need to call the constructor that deal with both the shoe and bag. But there is a case that I want to solve here. What if you need only bag and we doesn't set the constructor for the bag? Okay, before addressing this, let me test the first constructor, the second constructor that we said. Now we have shoe, constructor for shoe, so there is no need to have back here. Let me run the program again. Okay, since that we are looking for only shoe price, we want here we have 0 for the back, and the unit price for the shoe is 40, while quantity of the shoe is 2, and the total amount for shoe is 80. Okay, what if we want only back? So the only solution here we will use for the back, we will use the constructor that we have 2 parameter and set the shoe price to 0, and then set the value for the back, which is, let's change the value to like 15. And here we don't need to call this method. We need to call the method of the back quantity. Price for the back, set back quantity. Let's say that we want 3. Let's print this program and see what we have now. Okay, here the value for the shoe is 0. Because we will not have one constructor with the same parameter, we can only have constructor with different parameter. That is why we set the shoe price to 0, and we have only constructor for the back price. And I hope the explanation is clear. You can subscribe to our channel.